There it goes. Okay, we got Nick Campanella back. The big release date for the new book, Discrepancy, is coming up on February 18th. And everybody's really excited to know that this book it's going to be a $2 ebook bomb. And Nick, why don't you tell us where people can find the book and start reviewing it, and be sure to buy it on February 18th. What you want to do is get the $2 ebook on February 18th, 2025 to help promo his whole deal. So what do you say, Nick? What's going on?
Well, thanks again for meeting with me for what is this, the fourth time? This is awesome. And, thanks for all your viewers and all my viewers. And yeah, we got this ebook bomb going off for my new book, Discrepancy. It comes on February 18th. That is next Tuesday. And you can find it on Amazon, and just type in Discrepancy, Nick Campanella, or go to my website, nickcampanella.com. The link is still on Devoid of Light now, but we're going to switch that over once the day comes.
Also, I think you have an author's channel on Amazon.com, right? I think you have an author's corner where am I mistaken about that? Because a lot of authors have an author's spot where you can put your books right there on Amazon. But if they buy it from you, it's almost preferable. But that link will be switched on once the time comes, though, right?
Yeah, definitely. The website, we're going to have the hyperlink right to the Amazon author page, and then and then you can buy it there. And yeah, if you're on the Amazon page there, if you click on Nick Campanella right under the image of the book, then it goes to the author page, and it's kind of like a website. It just kind of shows the different books and the description and everything like that.
Good. So the author's page is there too, so people can check out your previous works and the book that we talked about before. And all, this whole thing of like joining the author's page and being a self-published author, it involves like a lot of determination and like will on your part to kind of bring not just the creativity into the world, but then put it out in front of people. It's a new way of marketing to do self-publishing, to be independent. It's a little bit like being an independent media outlet of your own. You're paying somebody else to publish the book, but then you've got to try to convince people to, hey, this is worth your while. If you like action, suspense, and mystery, and a whodunit, check out the book. I know the book really plays with people's heads. I know by the time I got into like page 15, 20, on the book, I could tell it was kind of playing with my mind a little bit.
Well, yeah, I didn't know you got that far. Thanks for taking the time to read a few pages. And yeah, it's got to be the most hyper intense first 15, 30 pages of any book in history. I mean, it's just I try to like make sure that the first 15, 20 pages really catches people, so that a lot of times people, if you don't catch them, they will stop reading, so I make sure that that first 15, 20 pages is pretty good. But no, yeah, my first three books, I actually had a publisher, and through Little Mason Publishing, and everything worked out just great. But this time I'm actually self-publishing for the first time, and yeah, it was quite a few hoops I had to jump through. It was a lot more than I expected. The majority of it's kind of like data entry, but the formatting part gets a little bit confusing, a little tricky. But now I know how to do it, and maybe we'll go that route in the future. And if anybody out there is an author or a writer and that they want to self-publish, I offer free advice. I mean, obviously I'd have to charge if somebody wanted me to do all the work for them, but otherwise I can kind of point them in the right direction.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, it serves as an inspiration to get more people entering the field of self-publishing and to really have faith in themselves that they can become an author. The traditional historical gatekeepers, in a lot of ways, whether it's the, legacy media you've got the publishing companies being owned by the same companies that own the movie companies and the news companies, and of course the music industry, comes down to like a few organizations that are gatekeepers for artists to get in front of people's eyeballs. So I like what you're doing, because in some ways it's similar to what I do with my little interviews, but I'd really like to lift up people who are writing books. As a person who, I used to be better read than I am now, but I'm still print literate. I want people to enjoy literature. So I guess I like and support what you're doing. I wish we could find a way to lift up a whole lot of local writers, Minnesota writers. I think it's kind of you're making me think that I'd like to get a dream off the ground of starting like an independent uh, kind of a web presence that's going to focus on Minnesota authors and writers and researchers, and just have conversations like this. But already I'm talking too much. I'm putting myself out there. And for my interviews, usually I don't do that, but you and I end up doing like a conversation more than an interview. Can you, back to you, can you tell me about the importance of reviews in this process, and that people write like reviews on your page, on your website, or share your book with friends? What do you see as the importance of the reviews in this marketing process and getting artistic feedback from your readers?
Yeah, that's a perfect, excellent question. Thank you so much. Yeah, reviews they're paramount. They're so important, because let's just say on Tuesday when my book goes live, there won't be any reviews except for, a couple people. I got a couple friends that already read it that they might leave a review. So it'll be like two. So it's important so that hopefully I will have 500 people that buy that book on February 18th. And it's almost impossible to get those 500 people to leave a review, but they say it's about 10%. But the key is, it gives your book credibility, so that other people throughout the world, if they're looking at it, and if there's only 2 or 3 reviews, they're just going to keep scrolling and go find another book. But if there's 20, 30, 40 reviews on launch day, they might be like, okay, this book's obviously sold some and people like it, and they'll read some of the reviews on there, and it might entice them to want to buy it, and then hopefully they leave a review also. A minute ago, we were talking about you had mentioned freedom and authenticity when it comes to what you do and what I do. And I tell people it is freedom, because as you know, and as I know, let's just say that if you worked for a news agency or whatever, they'd be, giving you a script or telling you what to do, what to wear, they'll be putting makeup on you. And for me, if I were to publish this book traditionally, for one, it would be almost impossible. You'd have to have a query letter, you'd have to find an agent, you'd have to jump through all these hoops. But if a traditional publisher actually was interested in my work, they'd look at it and be like, Nick, this is great. Let's do this. Let's make a deal. We're going to give you, an X amount of dollars. But the key is that it wouldn't be authentic, because they could make you change the name of the book. They could make you change the cover of the book. They could go in and be like, we don't like chapter 7. We don't like Curt Banks. We don't, and they could literally manipulate your book. So that's why a lot of as you know, in the music industry, a lot of these pop artists, let's just say, I don't want to pick on Justin Timberlake or any of these people, or Britney Spears or whatever, but them aren't their songs. If people write their songs, they're probably told what to do. They just have the talent. They can sing, they can dance, they look good, and they have the confidence to do it. But it's not authentic. They don't have the freedom that you and I have. But at the same time, they're making the money, and we're sitting here, putting 2 dimes together to try to get by.
That's right. And we shouldn't pick on Britney Spears, because look what they did to that poor girl. But even when she was up